Today is widely considered to be the golden age of cinematic universes, due to the sheer number of them. You got the MCU, you got the DCU, the Transformers CU, that god-awful dark cinematic universe, the Star Wars CU, and the Monsterverse, which is actually turning out to be pretty good. But if you aren't a Harry Potter fan, then there's one more cinematic universe that seemed to go under the radar, and that's Fantastic Beasts universe, which is hot garbage and should be banished to the dark magical wormhole which it came from. And recently, they released their newest addition to their cinematic universe, Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Bad Screenwriting, The Crimes of Grindelwald. This movie by far is the worst movie I've seen so far this year, and the worst Harry Potter film in the entire franchise. I remember watching the first Fantastic Beasts back when it came out, and it was hot garbage because of the unlikable characters, the large amount of dumb decisions, and the fact that the whole movie was just a device to make money and to compete with Marvel, since WB's other franchise isn't doing so well. Then I decided to watch it again, and it was even more garbage. But this new movie is on a whole new level. At least the first one had some good moments sprinkled throughout, but this movie barely had any. So enough of me rambling, and let's begin. I have never seen a movie with so many characters and plotlines in my life. Well, besides Infinity War, but none of them have a proper setup or introduction besides the cast from the first movie and Dumbledore. The movie has 10 main characters. 10! Each with some sort of plot revolving them and someone else. You got Albus and Grindelwald with their own past relationships. You got Newt and Tina trying to find Credence. Then you also got Newt and Tina with their troubled relationship because Tina thought Newt was married to Leta because of some terrible printing miserror. Then you got Credence and Nagini trying to find the parents. Then you got Leah, who turns out she drowned her baby. Then you got Queenie and Jacob with their relationship and Queenie going over to Grindelwald's side. Then you got this whole dumb love triangle between Newt, Theseus, and Leta. And meanwhile, they're all going on at the same time as the Fighting Credence plotline. It's way too much and so hard to follow. And then there's also other characters such as Nicholas Flamel and that Goonie from Grindelwald that follows him all around, but we'll get to those later. And it's just way too much and way too hard to follow. You could literally cut off about half of them and the story would still be the exact same. This is really just towards Nicholas Flamel and Nagini because they both did absolutely nothing throughout the whole film. They did nothing. I can't remember not one line that Nagini said. Not one line. And I can just barely remember one line from Flamel because it was plastered throughout all the trailers. They were only there for pointless fan service. They should have at least been giving one thing to do. So when you watch other Harry Potter movies and their name comes up, you're like, oh yeah, I remember that character. They did blank back in those Fantastic Beasts movies. But no, they just shoved it in there for brand recognition so fans could jump off their couch and rush to the theater to get tickets for the movie. But no. Every time I see their faces on the screen, I just cringe because they have no intention of using those characters or developing them or using them at all. They're just a plot device to get people into the theater. It's honestly disgusting. That's why fan service should not exist. It's a plot to make more money, and they use this so badly. Grindelwald isn't menacing at all. There was not one time in the theater where I thought threatened or intimidated by him at all. His motivation is pretty good, but he doesn't really seem to do anything interesting with it. I know he's a manipulator and he's manipulated pretty much all of the American ministry, but he barely has any screen time and development for us to get to know him as a character. And this is because of all the characters and side plots. When you have so many characters, certain other characters are going to get screwed over to make time for pointless subplots that the movie deems more worthy than others. There is so much stuff in this movie and it's so hard to keep up, and then they add all these plot twists and plot holes that jack up the whole entire timeline and story itself. For example, there's this really dumb and confusing like backstory with Credence, and it's all rushed in what seems like an hour, but really it's all rushed in like 10 minutes. And there's so much stuff going on, and then it's all like, oh well, this happened, oh wait, no, never mind, no, this actually happened, and that's happening all the time during those 10 minutes, and it makes it so confusing. And I had no idea what happened. I literally was so confused. I literally had to watch multiple reviews on YouTube just to understand it. And speaking of that, the ending. The ending, oh my god. This ending made me realize that the Harry Potter franchise is doomed. Not only does it not make sense and make 50 other plot holes, like for example, how come Dumbledore didn't say this to Harry in the other movies? Why was this ever brought up in the books or movies at all? And is Grindelwald lying? And if he is lying, then what was the whole point of this twist? And this just made me realize that WB doesn't care about the Harry Potter franchise. They just want to rush out 80 more Harry Potter movies just to make Marvel money. But they don't realize what made Marvel good. Marvel was good because all the characters had individual movies and went through some sort of development and character progression that made them likable. But in this movie, none of those characters go through that. None. Throughout both movies, none of them go through that. Then they have all these characters piled up on top of each other. They try, at least I'll give them points for that. They try to, but there's too much because of all the characters, and it just creates a giant mess. And these movies are honestly making the timeline more complicated for both fans and casual moviegoers, because I can tell if you aren't a Harry Potter fan and you watch this movie, you would have no idea what's going on. You would literally need to read all the books and watch all the movies, read all the lore and everything just to kind of understand the movie, because I'm a Harry Potter fan and I've read all the books, watched all the movies, and I'm into the lore and stuff, and I still had no idea what happened in this movie because it's so convoluted and executed in the most poor way. So you may be wondering, can WB really change this franchise and make it into something worthwhile? Well, yes and no. I'll get to the no part later, but if WB follows these next few tips, then it has a slight chance of being pretty good. So number 1, make Grindelwald more menacing. This is a must, because if you're gonna milk this franchise into 3 more movies, you need to make him way more menacing. Make him way more powerful, and make him more threatening, smart, and cunning, and everything. And also give him a lot more screen time. Because if you give him a lot more screen time and make him all the things that I just said, you're gonna make a really good villain, and he might be up to the standards of Voldemort. Next, take out all the fan service and unnecessary characters. I cannot stress this enough. You really don't need them, and if you can literally take them out the movie and the movie would be the exact same, that's a key sign that you don't need them. And my last and final point is to make the last 3 movies about a wizard war. Now just imagine, the Battle of Hogwarts times 10, and through 3 movies. That would be so cool, with wizards fighting each other, throwing spells and stuff. You got these giant magical creatures duking it out. You got Dumbledore, Grindelwald, and Credence with their insane power levels just colliding, and it would be so cool to see, especially on Ultra Screen. And also, you could also fit some character developments in there too, to make the movie even more amazing. And if you do that, that would make the next 3 movies a worthwhile to see, and one of the best Harry Potter moments in the entire franchise. But to be honest, WB isn't going to do any of these points because they're too money hungry and desperate to beat Marvel. But Marvel rose to success because all of their characters were likable, while every character in the Fantastic Beasts franchise are as bland and generic as a 50-year-old piece of flatbread. At least it'll be very interesting to see what they're going to do for the Harry Potter franchise. I have no idea where they're going, and honestly, I just want to see this entire franchise just go to a train wreck, because at this point, I don't know how they're going to fix this, because WB, yeah, they're not that great of a company, but maybe it's a good thing we don't know where they're going. Nah.